that overwhelming note of welcome, I know each one of us can write pages about how you have influenced us. Let us hear your views and your words on character building for nation building. I invite Dr. Kiran Bedi to please share with us her thoughts on this topic today.
I want to thank Dr. Deepak Madhok, your chairman, your director, Ms. Bharti Madhok, your deputy director, and Amrita Burman, and you, Pratima, who connected with me to connect with you. It was a very loving message, a very inspiring call saying you have to connect with us. It was a very beautiful call, very affectionate, which touched my heart. I want to thank you with the kind of affection you've invited me. Also, the kind of affection and regard and respect with which you've introduced me. You've inspired me to continue to rise to the occasion, to do my duty wherever I can. Both Dr. Madhok, both the Madhoks, um, Bharti and Deepak Chairman, sir, you both and you all actually referred back to my mother. Amrita recalled when I said in the college, Mummy sent me out of the kitchen. That's a fact. And Daddy put me onto the tennis court. So you talk of character building. Tell me, where are the first teachers? Before any other teacher, character building begins through a teacher or a school. The character beginning is coming through why did my mummy send me away from the kitchen at that time? She was building a character of a career woman. A woman who would cook for herself. Maybe if she doesn't have the time, she'll seek help and be able to pay for it. Because for mummy, a kitchen was not a rocket science. She wanted to instead make me play, because kitchen could have led me to a point. Well, kitchen is a great thing. When we want to entertain ourselves, we go to the best of the restaurants to eat. And being a chef is a great profession. It's a very prestigious profession. And today, men and women are great chefs. And we love them. And they're world over known. But at that time, that's my first teacher, mother, who said, you are not going to be limited to the kitchen. Kitchen will be a part of your home. But kitchen will be not the only place of yours, which normally did happen in our times. It still happens, but during my time, it was almost 99% where women were limited to the kitchen. And they were trained to be good cooks. They were trained to stitch, sew, knit, embroider. I think one subject I completely failed in my Sacred Heart School, Amritsar, was in needlework and stitching. I had no patience to sit and knit. I would run away from knitting because it only made me sit and do just knitting. And I used to go to my grandmother saying, Mummy, ye mera sweater bana do, aap bana do. Nani, not mummy, Nani. And she would knit that baby frock. And then I would go say, bana liya. And my teacher, none knew that I was not telling the truth because I had no patience to stitch. I wanted to play and not sit and stitch. That was character building. It was a personality building. It was a habit building time. Why did my father send me to the tennis court? He wanted me to compete at that age. He wanted me to be healthy. He wanted me to experience the outdoor. He wanted to challenge me to lose and win. That's character. It was building from home. So my first message on character building of a nation is it begins from home. And then the next part of the character was we were taken everywhere. We went to the Darbar Sahib. We went to the temple. We went everywhere. And I must tell you that when I wrote the Indian Police Service form, All India Civil Services form, and there was a column called religion. And guess what I wrote? I did not write, I'm a Hindu or a Muslim or a Sikh or a Christian. And I was in a Catholic school. And I had my grandparents who were Sikhs. My mummy came from a Hindu family. My grandpapa's family came from a Sikh family, though Papa was a practicing Hindu himself. But do you know what I wrote in my form? I wrote humanity. I did not write, I'm a Hindu or a Muslim, but a human being, a humanity. And I remember that I was asked and grilled on the subject, what did I mean by humanity? So, what I'm trying to say is that when I was growing up, my education to me was to be a good human being first, a fair human being, an industrious human being, an honest human being, a disciplined human being, a hardworking human being, and respecting human being. It was being a good human being. What I'm saying in character building, let's go to COVID times at the moment. I think the COVID times is the best learner for all our children today, for all our children. If, as teachers, you could use COVID as an example and ask about the nation building. Why is the nation suffering today? Why is the world suffering today? Today, the whole world is suffering, including from the country where it emanated from, which was, we know, the country. And then it spread all over the world. It started from a particular country, a particular home, a particular family, and it spread and it spread. And then it impacted the rest of the world, and we got wrapped in. Why? What has been the biggest national hit? What? To me, it's health. Had we all been healthy, and we would have not been spending all the energies into keeping ourselves healthy, India would have continued to, we would have not been having all these restrictions. So my point number one of nation building is health. The first thing we have to teach our children and our students is to be healthy. Value health, not wealth. I think what our children in nation building, I want to ask another question of you teachers, and I want to ask myself, pose it to myself. What is the wealth of a nation? The wealth of a nation is its healthy character. Healthy character. You may be very honest, you may be very disciplined, you may be very industrious, you may be very skilled, but you're not healthy. Where's the wealth of the nation? In the character, now, once we all say, look, you have to value health. Now you're saying, I'm using the two words, value health. Why should you value health? Children need to be taught. I've been a NGO, and my Navjyoti India Foundation ran drug abuse treatment centers. It is full of youngsters. Did they learn to value health? Or did they learn to burn health? They learned to burn money because they would buy smoking. They would buy heroin and drugs and then burn it. They would burn rupee. So the point number one is the wealth of a nation through its, you're building a character, part of the character, because you cannot take health out of the character. Respect for health has a hidden meaning for everything. Because the moment an individual as a citizen, you start respecting health, what are you doing? You're being productive. You are being productive. You're being creative. You're adding to the health of the nation. So a nation building cannot be of sick people. Nation building has to be of healthy people. And as children, first, that is why yoga has been constantly talked about. Why don't we start with yoga in schools? Why don't we begin with yoga? And we begin with a prayer, whichever prayer you want to do, a silent prayer or a loud prayer, a healthy yoga. Do we? So everybody, I remember in prison, when I started to run the 10,000 prisoners, I started the day with yoga and prayer. And there were sections of society inside the prison as a mindset saying, but yoga to hamara dharm nahi hai. Yoga hamara dharm nahi hai. तो मैंने कहा योगा तुम्हारा धर्म नहीं बदलता है. योगा तो तुम्हें एक अच्छा इंसान बनाता है, एक तंदुरुस्त इंसान बनाता है. तुमको किसने घुसा दिया कि योगा तुम्हें तुम्हारा धर्म बदलता है? अरे तुम्हारा धर्म को और उभारता है, एक बेटर इंसान बनाता है. इसको समझो. Who's taught them? Where did they learn this? Where is this character of good health? First thing, if you love your nation, would be you will respect your health. COVID is the biggest example, which is saying. Now, next point is, how will you maintain good health? By eating wrongly? By thinking wrongly? Is health only your body? Or is mental health not part of your character? Mental health is your mind management. So character building means a healthy mind in a healthy body. Healthy minds, healthy bodies is national character. Now, can a healthy mind be negative? Can a healthy mind be criminal? Can a healthy mind be cheating? Can a healthy mind be deceitful? Can a healthy mind be killing each other? No way. So the moment you have a character of a healthy mind in a healthy body as a part of you, you are then be able to exploit, use the wealth of the nation. Now comes what is the wealth of the nation, which you as a character will multiply, which is its minerals, which is its environment, which is its all hidden wealth above and below. So I would say, if I were to uh, do nation building with school children or college children, I would train them to be a gardener. पहले माली बनो, माली बनो. अरे माली बने, हाँ माली, माली of your life, gardener of your own life. You want a healthy plant? You want a healthy plant? Nourish it, water it, give it sunshine, give it protection so that it grows up to be a healthy plant. So I would want them, train them to be gardeners. That means gardening has to be part of your daily, not yoga only, but now do physical gardening. Then what will you do? You just can't, you have to dig it, you have to prepare the pot, then you have to put the plant carefully, be a nurturer. What I'm looking at is training where the mind and the body is treated as a temple and the mind is the God within, the spirit within. So that means any child in nation building, in character building, if he's trained and he's learned, I've also learned in research that values cannot be trained, they can be caught. You have to create situations where you catch the value. Kitna samjha lo? What's happening today in COVID spread? Why is COVID spreading today? Because you're not a law-abiding nation. We are not a law-abiding nation. From March onwards, repeated orders from the government of India, repeated messages from the Prime Minister of India, repeated messages from the Rashtrapati Bhavan, repeated messages from media messages are coming saying, mask lagao, social distance rakho, keep social distance, put a mask, keep your hands clean, don't get into crowded places, wait for your turn. Do we have a law-abiding nation? That why? Because we do not value health. We are risking our health, but we're looking for wealth at shortcut. Nation cannot be built without the generations, without our youth cultivating the value, catch it. Teaching does not help. We've spoken and spoken and spoken. Has it mattered? Only fear of prosecution. You fear of prosecution. How many times? Poor policemen, few of them will go on prosecuting. It has its limitations, my friends. So I would say in these 20 minutes which you gave me, that character in nation building, first message in character building is when as a growing up child, train our children, parents, or which I was taught when I was playing tennis, it was said, keep healthy. My parents gave me the most nutritious food. It was a vegetarian food, my friends. It was teaching me respect for life. They taught me respect for life. Don't kill others to eat. There's enough for you to eat. You don't have to kill others. You don't have to eat dead meat. Eat life. Go eat vegetables. Drink milk. Drink paneer. Look at proteins. Look at fruits. All these are bounties of nature. So this is to me, a nation cannot have a character which is unhealthy. Character means not issues of discipline, punctuality, honesty without healthy body. A healthy body in a healthy mind to me is the real nation building. Unless the nation, now you see the kinds of crores of rupees are being invested into COVID management. Supposing we had invested all these earlier, but even still it wouldn't have mattered because we are not like a country in Japan. In Japan, one instruction given to the people of Japan, all fall in line. Nobody violates the law. Why? Because they are respecting each other. Here, go on, on, to what avail? Why? Because we've learned more to break the law rather than abide by the law. So I would say good character is not formed in a week or a month. It is created little by little, day by day. Protracted and patient effort is needed to develop good character. It takes time and effort. And in that time and effort, you children have to catch the values, catch them, not taught them. भैया बैठ जा सुन ले वो इधर से सुनेंगे यहाँ से निकाल देंगे. Catch it. That means they catch a good value from the mother, the father, the teacher, the grandparent, the environment. Look, one thing is very, very clear for our youth today. How the politicians behave is not in your control. How the media projects is not in your control. What is in your control is your own thinking. Politicians, you have the good, the bad, and the ugly. The media, you have the good and the bad and the ugly. You have to tune in. Even for the media, even social media today, you have the good and the bad and the ugly. I believe some of the most visited sites are pornography. I'm told research is saying some of the most visited sites are pornographic. Knowing that pornographic sites who are visiting pornographic sites are watched and they're tracked, yet people take a chance. We were during COVID times receiving complaints in our control room, children complaining, ma'am, please help us. Our father sitting with mummy and all of us are watching blue films. Where do the children go in lockdown time? Who is educating them? Is this character building? Who is giving this value? Is this devalue? Who is giving this deficiency in the character of the child? The father himself, by doing what he wants, because he's got an unhealthy mind and maybe unhealthy body. So my friends, my crux is that I think as a nation, character building, we need investments into valuing health. And you cannot value health without valuing your whole system of humankind, which is humanity. That means you take care of others by taking care of yourselves. And healthy people would be agriculture healthy, industry healthy, teachers healthy, players champions. You will have a strong character who's got hard work, because a healthy body works hard. Healthy body doesn't sit and sleep. Healthy mind, healthy body works hard, delivers, produces, creates, innovates, contributes. So if we want, as teachers, as management, since you're coming from the educational world, invest into children to value their health, which means look at your body as a temple. And as a temple, nothing wrong should go in. Automatically, a healthy mind, a healthy body will use the hands, will use the skills, and then with skill development all over, all these skills available, now the opportunities are available, they will make a nation strong. I thought this is good enough to me to make these opening remarks.
So you would advocate educating the parents also, and is an intrinsic
Why
part.
should parents be needing education? Why should parents be needing education? Why? They are exercising a responsibility. It's not education. When you give birth to a child, you're exercising a responsibility. You don't need education. You're giving a birth to a new life. Now nurture the life. Does a gardener need to be educated on how the plant has to be grown? Why would he plant a plant then? Why would he plant? Why is he creating a plant when he does not know how to garden it? Then he's not a gardener.
True that. Right.
These parents are gardeners of their children's lives.
I hope all the parents who are here with us today on FB have understood their role in nurturing the child's value system, and of course in the partnership that they can have with the school. Coming to a larger perspective of the nation, ma'am, you have been a law enforcement officer, and you have also been a part of planning, and you have seen so many developmental schemes in your time, which you have also helped, to bear fruits. I am reminded by a quote of Peter Drucker, and he says that culture eats strategy for breakfast. So, what is it about us as a nation that we still have an ing before the word, after the word develop? Where do our developmental strategies go wrong? What is it that does not quite gel together and does not help us to achieve the goals? Is it something embedded deep within us which does not make us achievers?
Pratima, I do not know where there is an alignment in what between the parents and the teachers, what do they want the children to be. किसी तरीके से जी इसको आईएएस करा दो, आईपीएस करा दो, ये इंजीनियर बना दो, डॉक्टर बना दो, कितनी फीस भी कहीं से भी दे दो, इंसान अच्छा बना दो. कितने पेरेंट्स आकर कहते हैं मेरे बच्चे को इंसान अच्छा बना दो, और जो ये बनना चाहते हैं इसको वो बनाओ. Do the parents come and tell you, allow the child to study the subjects the child wants, and make my child a wonderful human being. I want to see him a happy human being who grows up to say, thank you, you made my life. मुझे काम लगता ही नहीं, क्योंकि मैं वो काम करता हूँ जो मुझे पसंद है. मेरे सब्जेक्ट्स आज इसीलिए मैं खुश हूँ, क्योंकि मैंने वो सब्जेक्ट पढ़े जो मुझे अच्छे लगते थे. इसलिए मैं जितना मर्जी पढ़ लूं, मैं लगता ही नहीं मैं पढ़ी, क्योंकि मुझे लगता है वो है ही नहीं होमवर्क, वो लगता है जैसे मैंने नॉलेज गेन किया. How many parents come back to you to say, make my child a happy human being who realizes what the child wants, not what I want? मैं डॉक्टर था, अब ये भी बनेगा डॉक्टर, चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए, इसको डॉक्टर बनाओ जी. अरे अच्छा इंसान तो पहले बना लो. उसको डॉक्टर बनना चाहते हो तो बनाओ, नहीं बनना चाहता तो क्यों बनाते हो? वो कुछ और करना चाहता है, वो म्यूजिक करना चाहता है, वो आर्ट करना चाहता है, वो टेक्नोलॉजी करना चाहता है, वो साइंस करना चाहता है, उसको करने दो. How many parents come and tell you, let my child choose the subjects he wants, and you counsel? Your role is, you got scientific methods today in colleges, you can see the aptitude of the child, and then you can counsel the child. Look, your children, your aptitude is this. If you do this, this is your aptitude, you'll be happy and successful. You have aptitude tests today, wonderful tests. You can do that. And then you can make the child realize and then choose the subjects. That is what this national new education policy is bringing, is choice of subjects. This is what the new change is, that you are letting the child choose subjects of his choice and drop out and drop in. Go, experience, come back. This is what the new. So you have by now 70 years created a system of compulsion, competition, not collaboration, not creativity, not potential, but robots. कमाना है, इसने कमाना है जी, कमाना है. अरे एक भगवान के पास एक व्यक्ति गया, उसे कहा, भगवान मुझे तुमने कहाँ भेज दिया? इधर गंदगी है, बहुत नुकसान है, लड़ाई है, झगड़ा है, झूठ है, आपने मुझे कहाँ भेज दिया भगवान? मुझे वापस बुला ले. उसने कहा, इसीलिए तो भेजा तुझे मैंने, to make a better you. I have sent you to make a better you. So have parents ever come back to say to you, make a better child, better you, so that this child grows up and values everything the child has, grateful for what the child has? I think we have created a very ungrateful nation. Everybody wants everything free. मुफ्त चाहिए सब कुछ, पेमेंट नहीं देनी, मुफ्त. शॉर्टकट बता दो, नंबरों के भी शॉर्टकट बता दो. So I think we are a nation which is looking for everything easy. Let things come easy. So unless you are in alignment with parents, you and parents have to combine together to create better human beings. And the day the nation is full of good human beings, this nation will be a very healthy nation of 1 billion people and have a demographic dividend. At the moment, the demographic dividend is a challenge. इनको नौकरी, हर कोई कहता है नौकरी तो दी नहीं मुझे, मुझे 12वीं पढ़ा दिया, मुझे तो नौकरी नहीं मिली, सरकार फेल हो गई, मुझे नौकरी नहीं। अरे तू काम क्या जानता है? तुझे कोई काम आता है? काम करना आता है? नहीं, सिफारिश कर दो। अरे सिफारिश किस बात की करूं? नौकरी मैं इलेक्शन लड़ रही थी जब, जो हार गई थी, बहुत अच्छा हुआ। तो मैं जब दिल्ली में इलेक्शन लड़ी, तो मुझे इलेक्शंस में बहुत सारे लोग कहते थे, मैडम हम आपको वोट देंगे, बड़ा धन्यवाद, वोट देंगे, लेकिन आप हमें उस स्कूल में एडमिशन फ्री दिला दोगे? मैंने कहा नहीं। तो फिर वोट नहीं देंगे। मैं कहा मत दो। इसीलिए तो मैं हार गई, क्योंकि जो गलत मुझे बोलते थे मैं कहती थी मैं नहीं कर सकती। नाली साफ कर दोगे? मैं कहा नहीं, मैं नाली साफ करा दूंगी, उसके लिए स्टाफ होता है। तो मैडम मुझे मुझे कहते नहीं, पुराने वाले जो आते थे वो तो कह देते थे स्कूल में एडमिशन दिला देंगे। मैंने कहा स्कूल में एडमिशन का तरीका होता है, तरीका फॉलो कर दो। हरा दिया, मुझे आजाद मुक्त कर दिया। सो सच बोलने से मुझे मुक्ति मिल गई। See, the point here is we have got systems in place where even children want the parents, because parents ने उनको ये बता दिया ऐसे भी होता काम. So unless you are all in coordination, एक बात जैसे मम्मी और डैडी एक बात कहें, ऐसे स्कूल और घर एक बात कहें, फिर देखिए चमत्कार होता.
So I want to ask you, especially on this Women's Equality Day, what is the role of dissent in a woman's life? Because I think things have changed, but I think you and I also know that for many women, things really haven't changed, even today. So what is the power of getting up and saying no and dissenting for a woman in our society?
To say power of saying no, even power of saying yes, is an assertion of who you are. And it's also a personal responsibility who you want to be. उस गलत चीज के लिए हाँ या ना, गलत चीज के लिए ना, गलत सही चीज के लिए हाँ. This comes out of your confidence building. So a character which is without confidence is a slave. Is a slave. So I think nation building cannot be, character building cannot be separated from confidence building. And confidence is not a monopoly of a boy. Confidence is a part of human behavior. And every human being every child has a right to be trained to be confident. And how does confidence come? Confidence comes by doing. करने से होता है, पढ़ने से सिर्फ नहीं होता है. पढ़ाई होती है जब आपने इम्तिहान देना है, वो कर रहा है, पढ़ाई कर रहा है. बिना पढ़े आपको कॉन्फिडेंस कैसे आ जाएगा? आप घबराओगे कि मैं फेल हो जाऊंगा. सो वो कर रहे हो, यू आर स्टडिंग and you get confident to do well in exams. You're playing well, you're doing physical work, you're bound to win because you prepared. Preparation is confidence building. And then you win, more confidence comes. You achieve, more confidence comes. You fail, but you have done your best. Confidence comes to do it again. So confidence is not a monopoly, gender monopoly. So my parents totally told me, सारी उम्र बड़े होके किसी से कभी खड़े होके किसी से कुछ नहीं मांगना है. तुमने किसी से कुछ नहीं मांगना. और आज तक मैंने मांगा सिर्फ मम्मी से, अपनी बहन से. If I want to ask, मेरा बर्थडे प्रेजेंट कहाँ है? Only from my mother and only from my sister. Nobody else. Nobody else. Have I ever said कहाँ हूँ? मेरा कहाँ है? So never. She trained me in such a big way. किसी से कभी कुछ मांगना नहीं है, देना सीखना. So I think confidence building is that is what my father did at that time. He asserted his responsibility as a father of 4 girls. We were 4. The younger one came later. So 4 girls to be sent to the most expensive school at that time. It was asserting to make his daughters confident, because education brings confidence. Good education brings confidence.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
So one of the questions from the FB, ma'am, discipline is a great value that has to be inculcated in everyone in order to achieve their goals. Discipline demands obedience. But at times, obedience and over-discipline causes submission. What are your thoughts?
Everybody has also to learn boundaries. That is why citizens, you have in our Indian constitution fundamental rights and duties. So when you train a child on your rights, you must also teach him directive principles of state policy. So everything whatever we have has boundaries. So once you understand that within boundaries you can exercise your ability, you have a right to speech, but you have no right to abuse the others. You have a right to drive, but you don't have right to kill others. You have a right to protect yourself, but you don't have a right to shoot on others. You have a right to your natural environment, but you don't have a right to pollute for others. So every right has a concomitant responsibility. So when I'm obeying laws, it's being part of discipline. So discipline is a very important part of character, but you know your boundaries. But within my boundaries are my rights, and I exercise them. That where confidence comes and knowledge comes to exercise my rights, but within boundaries. So we must train our children that there are boundaries. There are boundaries of behavior. You can ask and demand anything of your parents, but there are boundaries. You cannot cross a line. You can talk to your teacher, ask questions, discuss, but you have boundaries. Respect cannot be compromised. Gratitude has to be remained. So all these are part of your character traits where you allow free speech, but you again have to have boundaries. So boundaries, there's nothing without boundaries. But boundaries are which are reasonable. That's why right to education today is a right, isn't it? Earlier it wasn't. That's why you got compulsory enrollment now. It's now every child has a right to education. And that right now is coming to the age 3 now. Earlier it was only 6. So these rights, right to information. How are you getting the right to information today? Because, but even in right to information, you have a boundary. Anything which compromises the security of state, you cannot be given that information. Right? So everything has, so it's part of this, but within that, I have a right. So everything, every right, that's why on the Constitution Day, our Honorable Prime Minister said, every citizen must recognize what are my responsibilities before you exercise your rights. And today in our country, the day every person starts exercising responsibilities first, your right is assured, because you are assured by your exercise of responsibility, you are assuring my right. And by my exercise of responsibility, I'm assuring your right. When I am peaceful in law abiding, I'm giving you your space. But and you are law abiding, you're letting me safe. We both are giving each other. But if I say, I have a right to space, I have even a right to your space. Then you say, no, it's my right, I have your space. So everybody's fighting. Exercise your responsibility of restraint. And you see, everybody will be at peace. They will all have enough for themselves. So rights and responsibilities must be trained as a part of our growth.
So this question, the next question, I think is probably from one of the students, because what he says is that he's probably read about your stint in the Bihar jail, working with the prisoners and reformations and everything that you carried out there. And I think he harks back also to that TED talk where you said, कि आप क्या करना चाहते हैं, and they said कि प्रार्थना करोगे, and they said yes. So he says, how are criminals different from normal people, and how did you feel interacting with them? Was it very difficult? Probably he's talking about transference and counter-transference, ma'am. How difficult was it to talk to these hardened criminals?
Those people only knew one right, that they have a right. They have a right to others' property. They have a right to others' life. They have a right to whatever others had. They exercised their right. They were away from realizing their responsibility. They were never trained. They never groomed. They never educated. And they fell into bad company who only talked about extortion. उसके पास है जबरदस्त, उसके पास तुझे ज्यादा है ना, तेरे पास, I have a right to your excess. So they were always exerting their rights. They knew no boundaries. That is why they had to be put in boundaries. That's why they went to jail. Jail is a boundary. High walls, you can't get out. Why? Because you violated your space. When a criminal violates the space of liberty and freedom and other security, he goes into a prison of high walls where he cannot even see what's happening outside. Then the law punishes him. They were all like that. They were misled, misinformed, brainwashed. That's why we had to start working on their mind in the prison. That's why the reforms happened by education, meditation, bhakti, pratna, discipline, dusre ki service. So we had to work on their mind, not the body. The body looked very fit. Body looked very rich, very fine, big. But this was ill. This was ill. This was sick. So we had to cleanse their mind here. So we had to push in meditation, bhakti, education, good stories, parvachan into them to push the negativity out. And moment that started to make more space, transformation happened. So it's all about your mind. What you get crowded with. They were crowded with smoke. Smoke. वो धीरे धीरे उसको जब तंदुरुस्ती बनाया, ड्रग एडिक्ट्स का जब मैंने हजारों का ट्रीटमेंट किया नशा मुक्ति केंद्र में, जब हम लोग चलाते थे, वो सोचते थे माँ बाप ने किया क्या हमारे लिए, माँ बाप ने कौन करे, ये तो मेरा राइट है, ये माँ का जेवर मेरा है, लेके बेच के नशा करते थे, बिकॉज दे वर थिंकिंग ओनली दिस वे, द थिंकिंग वाज रॉन्ग. उसको धीरे धीरे तंदुरुस्ती किया. दिस इज अ केमिकल चेंजेस. It happens as chemical changes in the brain. That's why their treatment is very tough. And recovery is also very tough. I think the recovery of drug addicts was tougher to me than non-drug addict criminals changes. It was easier. The environment changed them. Like the prayer, when you have music around, it starts impacting you. Pratna impacts you. Pravachan impacts you. Yoga, meditation, om impacts you. And very dirty, loud hammering impacts you. It gives you a headache. So our minds are very sensitive. It's what you feed in through your ears.
Okay. A slightly sensitive question, and it calls for your own personal opinion, ma'am. There is a viewer on FB who writes to us, and he says that in an era of counseling and psychotherapy and guidance, do you stand for death by hanging for an offense?
In selected cases, yes. Very few cases, yes. That's why in our law, it's very rare. The word used always is rarest of the rare. But if you remove that also, I think it's not, I think that equally. Remember, we need to be victim-centric justice also.
True.
So they're victims in society, which is also looking for this justice. And if it is proven beyond doubt, then victim also has a right for this justice, and which is due diligence. It's not kangaroo court, which is hanging. It's a Supreme Court of India, which does.
Right.
But selectively used.
And ma'am, what about that TV program which you did immediately after your retirement, and the kacheri that you did, and you actually called people to come to you with their problems, and then there was a whole process. You listened to them. Would you not want to continue with that? There haven't been other editions of that program. Why did you abandon it? Because according to the viewers, it led them to actually understand how problem solving in critical situations is done.
Look, such programs are very expensive. They need to be sponsored. Yeah, these are sponsored programs. They have a cost, very high cost. This was produced by Siddharth Basu.
True.
And I think it was done by Star Plus.
I would find it hard to believe that someone goes against your word, ma'am. So the decisions kind of have to be respected.
It was all based on law.
Yeah.